Okay, good day once again, guys. Welcome to another community meetup. I trust that we are doing well. So today we are going to be looking at week 10 of our product design track. And today our topic is usability testing. So I would like to ask, has anybody like maybe heard or be involved or yeah, come across usability testing before? Like have you come across it before? Have you heard about it? So over to us. Have you heard about it before? Have you come across it before? Have you participated in it before? Taiwo, Aisha, back.
Um, okay, yeah, I've heard the word disability testing before, and I kind of the concept behind it. It's more like when you like design something like or a product or something like that, and you want to test if this thing is actually solving the problem you want it to solve. And people actually use it? But I've actually not done it like myself, especially like my target audience. I rather do like maybe with my friends. That's just it.
Mm, all right. Okay. How about you, Taiwo?
Sorry, I didn't get the this thing. I was attending to a patient. I'm at work currently. That's all.
I said, have you come across the term usability testing or be involved in or participated in like usability testing?
Yes, I have actually. I have.
Okay, can you share your experience?
While I was well, might not be able to, speak in the normal design terminologies for now concerning that. But basically, it's like a test that is being conducted before you probably push out your product on. Maybe you're checking for the experience, the what do they call it? The touch spots, all those things like that. Basically, there are some tools that you can use to carry out some of these tests too. I think one of them is it Miro? No, Maze or something like that. Where you yeah, I think I've used that one before while I was still learning. Um Another example of such could be maybe A and B testing. That's like an example as well.
Yes, it's a
I
type
can't
of.
really remember. I can't really remember everything right now. So, but I've seen something like that before.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much. So I think that we are familiar with the term that is usability testing. And usability testing is just a way of getting users or getting people to interact with your product. It's a way of getting people or getting users to interact with like your product. And most times when you want to do usability testing, you most likely want to work with a prototype. That prototype can be a mid fidelity like you get prototype or a high fidelity prototype, but like users need to be able to or people need to be able to interact with like a real like you get a real like product in that sense, so they cannot really work with like maybe for instance a sketch, not a sketch or an idea in your mind. If you are going to do usability testing, you are going to work with like you get real people. You are going to get like real feedback basically. Again, why do we do usability testing? First of all, we know that design on Figma and, for instance, design on people's hands are two different things. When you're working in Figma, you're most likely working in a silo and then there's a design file. And sometimes you would think that users will follow through, like you get whatever design you have made and how you think that it should work. But we know that it's always the opposite most times. Like when you think that user will go like from A to B in your design, if you give it to them to actually test, they may go from A to Z. Like they may not follow like you get what you have like in your design in that sense. So it's a way of getting feedback. Basically, we know that the design thinking process is an iterative process, and what that means is that it's not like a linear process whereby you go from empathize to define to ideate prototype to test. Like you go like that, and then you just end up at test and just end up and you're done. Most times you can start with an idea when you have finished your prototyping and you go and test or you need to test, you discover that oh there's an issue, you go back again and sometimes you may even have to go back to different stages or different phases of the design thinking process. You may have even done something and you may realize that you're solving a wrong problem. And that means that you have to start over from scratch. So I'm just saying that there are cases or there's a need for usability testing so that we ensure that what we are designing actually fits to our target user and our target market. Again, we know that if your product does not fit into the market or into the users, you cannot, there's no hope for your business. There's no hope. There's no hope. Like your design cannot convert, like your design cannot work. And if it cannot work, what's the essence? Like you are in business to stay in business. You are in business so you can make profit. And if your tool for making profit, which is design, even though design is not like the only tool, like obviously there's marketing and all those things, but like if your major offering in that sense cannot convert, then what is the point? So again, usability testing can be carried out at different phases of design thinking process. Sometimes you do it, for instance, when you have a prototype, like in your, let's say, your ideate and your prototype phase. Sometimes you do it after you have launched, like, okay, you have launched and you just want to get users to like give you feedbacks, and then you can also conduct that. So that's like the summary of usability testing, like, okay, that is what it is, and the importance, like I said, to get feedback. Nobody's infallible, like nobody is not capable of making mistake. Anybody can make mistakes. So that's sometimes we have to test our assumptions and not just assume that, oh, because you have designed something, it has to work this way or that way. So there are two types of usability testing. There is remote and in-person. Straight to the point, remote usability testing means that you don't have to call users to a particular place. You can do it online, like virtually. And then there's in-person, whereby they'll come to somewhere and then they can begin to test out your designs. Again, mostly you would be doing like remote usability testing because most times it's expensive to do like in-person university testing because it means that you have to call users to a particular location, and most times people will not just come like that. You have to compensate them and all those things unless there's a budget for it, unless it's like a big company, and most times you may want to do it like virtually. But if there's a budget for it and then you have like the funds, oh, why not just do what you need to do? So that's like remote. Again, they have their advantage and disadvantages, and the one that you use will be dependent on your use case. For instance, if there's money, if you are getting like you trust your user group and like you trust that, okay, you have all the resources, you have a location, you can give them incentives and stuff like that. Oh, why not? But if you are lean on, you get, for instance, budget and other resources, I need to like decide fast, or you get fast feedback. Most times it's easier or faster for you to conduct remote, you get usability testing. Also, usability testing can also be broken down into moderated and unmoderated. Moderated just means that, oh, when you are doing the testing, you tell them what to do. So you can say, for instance, try to create an account, try to buy maybe credit, try to send airtime, try to send money. Those are like different flows that you tell them what to do. Okay, click on this button. Okay, click on that one. Like you direct them, basically, you guide them. That's what moderated is. And then in unmoderated, you just tell them that, okay, oh, just try to do this thing, and you leave them and let them figure it out and make mistakes, and you get try to discover it yourself. So in moderated, you are guiding them throughout all the steps. Okay, click on this one, click here, click here, click there, and they are seeing how they are responding. And in unmoderated, you are just telling them that, okay, this is what you want to do, just find your way. So you leave them to find their way. Sometimes it's chaotic, sometimes they'll be asking you, what does this mean, what does that mean? But you just allow them to do what you get they can do. And then when you're done with usability testing, then you get like insight. Like would expect that maybe you recorded the session or you took some form of like notes. So you can go back to those notes and you begin to see like patterns, you begin to see like issues, you begin to see how users actually interact with your product. Because like I said once again, that how you think they will interact is different from the way they actually interact. So, like the reason why you do usability test is for you to get actual feedback as to how users actually use your product, because that way you are sure that what you are designing and what you're expecting is the same thing. If you don't test it, you just think that, okay, you're just working based on assumption, based on vibes. But until you see real users actually work with your product, you may not be able to you get accurate understanding or insight from the user perspective. So that's like a summary of usability testing. Like I said, again, when you are sure that, for instance, as far as you have like a mid fidelity design, you can just do a usability testing, like just prototype and then test. You don't need to wait until when everything's perfect or when everything's glossy or when everything's fine. Once you have your designs like you get in place, as far as you have gotten past mid fidelity, you can begin to test, because that way it also helps you not to over invest. Because if something's not going to work for mid fidelity, assuming you don't need to like invest too much and then start refining and all those. If it's not going to work, it will not work even at high fidelity. So it's good for you to test early, get your feedback like on time. Test early, very important. Get feedback and iterate forward. Like understand that things will change. Users will have different perspective or want different things. make your changes and move on, like fail forward faster. So because as you fail forward, you are closer to your success, basically. So that's like a summary on usability testing. I know this one was very like short. Does anybody have like any questions or any questions or something you want to say or contribute? We have about 5 minutes more, actually.
Then you didn't move any slide on this thing at all.
Yeah, I didn't move any slide. I was just talking from my head.
Okay, okay. I just wanted to be
You said
sure.
something. Yeah, I could send something actually. I didn't move any slide actually. I just said from. Do you have any questions or anything?
No, no, I don't have any question.
So that means you understand.
It be like so.
Okay, Aisha, how about you?
Yeah, I don't think I have any questions now. I mean, you've been able to break it down pretty well, so no questions.
All right. I actually have like a slide, although I use it somewhere else, but like something that just talks about like, well, I've just summarized everything actually. Like I've summarized everything regarding like usability, like testing. Although, again, usability testing is like under UX research. There are other things that come under UX research, like trying to understand your user. And usability testing is just one of it. There's also computer analysis. I'm guessing that we know all of all that. There's using surveys. Do we know all of all that? Surveys, interviews, and all of all those things.
Yeah, yeah, sure, sure.
Okay, all right. I'm guessing that we have done surveys before, computer analysis, interviews, ask questions. It's just a way of understanding the user. So, like I said, it helps you to get like just recapping. Again, usability testing helps you to get direct feedback on your design. Like you have direct feedback. It also helps you to refine your product. Like before you launch, you can actually refine it and get inside. There's no point launching something that will not work. It's better for you to know that it's not before you invest money into marketing and all those things and you now discover that oh there's a problem which you could have discovered like on time. Again, like I said, for you to do a usability testing you must have like a working prototype. You must have a working prototype, like you must have a working prototype that users can actually test. Although one thing that people say is a disadvantage of, for instance, let's say the in-person usability testing or any kind of usability testing is that the truth is that no matter if it's in-person or remote, most times users will not behave naturally if they know that they're being tested. So that's like a bias sort of allow that users like if I tell you that I want to you don't do a test, or yeah, come and try this one. In your mind, you think there's a matter of right and wrong. And so even things that you not do naturally, they will do it. Even things like behaviors that they will not behave naturally when they know that they are being tested or in a test environment most times they want to behave differently. Again, this one is more seen in in-person usability testing, whereby they are in somewhere. That means that imagine you invite somebody to an office and say, "Oh, I want to test you." To them, it already looks like a test or maybe a trap, or in that sense, and they want to just be right and they will not behave naturally. But again, maybe this bias is reduced for remote, but that's like generally like some things to consider. How that users will feel like they're in a natural environment because that's how they should feel. Once they feel like they're under testing or they're under whatever pressure, they just want to just act correctly and want to like you get do all the right things, which is not the case. The case is just for you to you get identify areas that are confusing and just make feedback and feel forward. So yeah, does anybody have any other questions or are we good? Taiwo, Aisha, are we good? Or do we have any other questions?
No, no questions from me.
No question.
Yes. Thank you very much for your time. Let me just stop the recording now.